All right, we are live. Let's give it a second here for everyone to get in. All right, good morning, everyone. Hello, everyone coming in. My name is Jonah. If you guys haven't met me yet, I do a lot of coding at Science North. If you guys have met me yet, you probably already know this. We have probably done some coding one way or another, whether it's virtual or at Science North. And I want to welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our live stream. Sure do miss all of you guys and seeing everyone in person at the Science Center or Dynamic Earth. We are happy to provide this program free for everyone, but we would appreciate a donation that could help us bring you great science experiences in the future. If you are interested in donating to Science North, you can do it through the Eventbrite registration, so how you guys signed and got onto here, or you can find a link on the Science North website. Just click, I believe, the donate link, and you can donate as well. So today we are going to be doing a Scratch coding game. So first things first that everyone needs to do, there should be a link in the YouTube description that is a Scratch link. It has kind of our template for the game we're going to create. So make sure you guys are clicking on that. Once you've loaded the Scratch page up, don't do anything else. I'll share my screen and you can follow along from there. But again, while we're kind of waiting for everyone to get ready, click that link in the description. It's just posted it in the comments by Science North as well. So keep an eye out for that. It should have the word Scratch Games in that link there. So you'll click it up, it'll load up Scratch. Don't do anything from there. I'll share my screen. You guys will be able to see mine and we can do it together. All right, I'm gonna try my best to keep the comments open. I also have another blue coat with me, Nina. So if you guys have done any coding with Nina as well, she is a master coder. And if you guys have questions, I'll try my best to see them. Nina might cut me off here or there too. There she is now. Oh, pointing the wrong way, this way. So yes, she will help me answer the questions for you guys. Again, I'm gonna take it nice and slow on Scratch. For anyone that hasn't used Scratch before, don't worry. For the first like 5 minutes when I get in there, I'm gonna do a nice quick summary of everything. And if you guys do have an account on Scratch, I would recommend signing in. That way you can save this game. If you don't have an account, don't worry. We can create the game and then I'll show you in the top right-hand corner of Scratch, you can actually make an account while after you've made the game, and you can still save it after then. So you can decide later for you. All right, I think that should be everything. So I'm going to switch to my Scratch screen. So if Nina could swap that over for me. Give it a second here. Yep, oh, good, good. All right, so if you guys did click the link, this is what should come up on your page. Again, I'm gonna take this nice and slow because we don't want anyone falling behind. If you guys have done any coding workshops with me before, you know that the code can get a little messy and crazy sometimes, so I wanna make sure everyone is following along. That way we don't have any mistakes in our code. But again, make sure you guys have clicked the link and your page should look identical to mine. So what I need everyone to do is, because I have a live stream going and I'm working on Scratch, you guys are gonna need to be able to split your screens. So right now I have one tab here that is Google Chrome. I also have the other tab. Let's say, for example, this is the live stream in here, live stream. What you guys need to do is you need to click on one of your tabs. So I'm gonna grab the Scratch tab here. I'm gonna click, hold, and drag down. So now I have two windows. This way I can split my screen. So I want this half to be Scratch. This half will be the live stream. So you guys can see my work as well as work along with me. Again, if you have troubles doing that, it kind of depends on the browser. For the most part, you should be able to click on that tab, click and hold, pull it down, and you can split them like so. And to resize, you just bring your mouse right to the edge of the window, and you can see that it changes to different arrows, and you can resize it. So do your best, you guys, to try and split your screens that way. And once you've done that, we can get right into it. So link to the email. For the link for the workshop, you guys should be in the description of this live YouTube chat. So if anyone's fallen behind, just check either the chat, it's posted in there, or it's in the description there. Click on that, it'll be right, brings you right to my page here. All right. So while everyone's going in, I'm going to do a quick summary of Scratch before we can get into anything. So let's look at the top here. This is kind of our blue tab of Scratch. If I look in the middle here, this is the game that we have for us here. If you guys have signed into an account, so as you can see here, mine's JB Science North in the top right corner. I have signed in. If you have signed in, you can click this remix button. So everyone that has an account on Scratch, make sure you are clicking that remix button. This way it kind of creates a file save for your personal account. So I'm going to do that right off the bat. It's going to take a minute. So I click that. It says project saved as a remix. It gives me the name, Cat and Mouse Remix -3. Depends on how many times you guys done this. And we are good to go. We have our account. It's saved in. Let's do a quick summary of what Scratch is for anyone that has not seen it before. So let's look on the left side here. So the left side here, we have a couple different tabs at the top. One says code, one says costumes, and one says sounds. We're not going to be using the costumes or sounds too much today. Maybe after we've made the game, you guys can play around, add some maybe sounds in. Let's look at the code here. So Scratch does this really cool thing that it puts all of the code into blocks for you guys. So it makes it really, really easy to use. As you can see, there are a lot of different color tabs on the left here. We're going to be using actually a lot of these. We'll be using a little bit of operators, sensing, a lot of control, always using events, not so much sounds, a tiny bit of looks, and always a lot of motion. Motion's our favorite tab. We use it for everything. So just a quick example. If you guys, again, haven't used Scratch before, everything works like a puzzle piece. So I can click and drag blocks, and I can snap them together. It goes in order from top to down, just like in real coding. You guys will be playing the code always from top to bottom. So when I'm starting to add my code into this middle area here where we put all of our code, make sure you guys are paying attention, looking very closely, because if your order is out of place, then your code probably won't play like it should. All right, so that's the left half here. Now let's look to the right half of our screen. This little big square white box here, this is kind of our play screen. So whatever we code on the left half here will occur or happen when we play the code over here. Now, if we look further down, we have a couple of settings and our sprites. So sprites, or our characters, everyone should have 3 different characters: the mouse, or it's named mice, the cheese, and the cat. You guys should be able to click between them, and you can see a little bit of code in between them as well. That's just kind of a base code to help you guys out when we are coding. Lastly, we can look at the settings here. Here we have the name of the sprite, the size of the sprite, the direction, so that's wherever it's pointing or looking. So I wouldn't play with any of these settings, you guys. I'm going to just mention this one right here. For any of the younger students that might not know what X and Y coordinates are, all you need to know what these numbers represent is where this character is on this screen. So right now I'm selecting the mice. These numbers represent exactly where it is on this screen. For maybe the older students, you know your Cartesian plane. You got your X coordinate, which is on the horizontal axis. And then you got your y coordinate, which is on the vertical axis. Don't have to worry about that too much. We're just going to use that to set some starting points for our game. Alrighty, I think we've covered most of it. So hopefully everyone's ready to go. We can do some coding. I'm going to talk about what this game we're actually going to create. So I know it's called Cat and Mouse. What we're going to try here, we have 3 components in this game here. So the mouse is going to be our controllable character. So we're going to code it so that we can control it. There's going to be a lot of different ways you can control characters in Scratch. I'm going to teach you guys a new way. If you guys have done coding with me, we've done a couple different ways. This one's kind of a different, newer way. With the cheese, this is going to be a collectible item. So if you guys know, in video games, you're collecting a bunch of stuff. And what we need to code for this cheese is when we touch it, we need to simulate collecting it or eating it. So we're going to have it disappear when the mice gets close to it or touches it. And then we need it to reappear when we start the game over. And lastly, the cat is going to be kind of our enemy. It's going to be moving around the maze. We're going to try and dodge it and not get hit by the cat, because when we do, the game will end. All right, so hopefully everyone's ready to go. We're going to start doing some coding here. So I need everyone to make sure when you're coding, you guys. Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt, but if someone can't see their cat, how can they try and find it?
Oh, for sure. So if your cat is hidden, but you guys do see it at the bottom here, I hope. If you see it at the bottom here, that means it's still there. It just might be hidden. So look at this setting right here, you guys. In this little setting box here, it has kind of these 2 eyes, one with an eye crossed out, one without. Make sure you guys have the left eye selected. So it should be blue. So my cat disappeared when I hit the other eye. It's gone. Oh no. Click the showing eye so it's appeared. Again, make sure you're selecting your cat at the bottom here. If it's still having issues, you guys, just click the link again. It should load everything back up to the starting point at what I have it at. So if you guys are having issues, anything right now, make sure you just hit the link again and you can restart and you can have everything back to where it's supposed to be. All right. So again, when we are coding, make sure you select the proper character, because each character has their own coding page. As you see, I'm flipping through them now. The code changes because they have their own separate page for code. So we're going to start off with the mouse or mice here. So make sure you guys at the bottom are clicking the mice button. You'll know you have selected it because it's blue at the bottom here. You have a little image of the mouse right in the top right corner of your coding page. If you have both of those, you should be good to go. So the coding blocks that we are starting off with is a when green flag is clicked and a forever loop. So these 2 blocks are found in the events tab. So the events tab is how we start all of our code. If you look at the shape of this block, we can see it's got a rounded top, while kind of the other blocks have a little bit of an indent in them. The reason Scratch does this is because to tell you that this block is always going at the top. It is how we start all of our code. It says when green flag is clicked. If we look up here where my mouse is just above the play screen, we have a little green flag and a stop sign. That's kind of our start and stop code. So anytime we've added new code, we need to stop it first. Oops. And hit the green flag to reload all of the code. So this is kind of our play button or our start button for our video game today. Next is the forever loop here. This is found in control. We're going to be using the forever loop today and the if statement. I'll talk about the if statement when we get to that there. But essentially what a forever loop does, it's very important for especially coding video games. It has a special shape just like some of the other blocks too. It kind of has a mouth opening here. The reason that is because we can actually put blocks inside of this loop. We can take it out as well. And what that happens is whatever code we have inside this forever loop will play forever. So we actually want this for all of our characters because we want to be able to control our mouse as we please. We want to stop whenever we want to stop, and we want to move whenever we want to move. And we can do that using this forever loop. So every character, I believe, has a forever loop already set up for you guys. Yes, they do. That's because we need that when we're coding games. All right, enough talk. Let's get into it. So we need to control our mouse. Now, if we need to move anything, we probably need a motion block. So let's head up to motion, everyone. Now, before we insert anything in our forever loop to start moving our mouse, we need to set these starting points. So right now we have our cat, our mouse, and our cheese starting in the perfect spot. This is exactly where we want them to start. So make sure you guys haven't moved your mouse or cat already. If you have, try your best to move it back. You can see these are my exact coordinates if you guys moved it already. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab a block that tells the game that, hey, I want this mouse to start here when I hit the green flag. When I start the game, it's going to go to the exact same spot every single time. So we can do that really easily. Head over to the motion tab, scroll down to the third, fourth, fifth block. It says go to X, and it has a number, and Y also has a number. So this goes back to what I was saying about the Cartesian plane. Don't worry if you guys are a little bit younger and haven't learned that in your math curriculum yet. Don't worry. We just want this block to tell the game to start there. So if you guys haven't moved your mouse, your numbers should look exactly like mine. What I need everyone to do is to grab this block, drag it over, and we're actually going to place this at the top of the forever loop. It's going to go below when green flag is clicked, obviously, because that is the starting block. And we don't want it in the forever loop because this block would make the mouse go to this spot forever. We don't want that. We just want it to go there once at the beginning of the game. So that's why we're placing it right at the top, not inside our forever loop. So there we go. Now we have our starting point for our mouse. We're going to do the same for the cat later. Now let's get to controlling our character. So there are a lot of different ways. Again, if you guys have done coding with me, we can do ways by using the keyboard to control the character. We can have it on the mouse following. What we're going to do is we're going to do something similar to following the mouse, but it's going to be a little bit delayed. So it's not super accurate. So it's going to make the game a little bit trickier. So we're going to need a couple blocks to do this. Excuse me. So what I need you guys to do is stay in the motion tab up here. And we want to grab this block, scroll down where it says point towards mouse pointer. You guys, it might not say mouse pointer, it might say something else. Don't worry. Grab this point towards block. Make sure it click on this little drop-down menu here and make sure it says mouse pointer. Grab that, place it inside the forever loop. And now what that does is when I hit the green flag, this character, the mouse, will know exactly where my mouse is. So it knows where it is, it's just not following it yet. So now what we need is we need a block to actually move the mouse. So we have it following the mouse. Now we just need to move it. So we can grab the top motion block. It says move 10 steps. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So let's go ahead and grab that block. And we're going to place it below, point towards. Again, make sure it's inside your forever loop. I'll zoom in here, you guys, so you guys can see it nice and easy. Again, order is very important, everyone. Order is super important in coding. So again, if you guys are having issues with your code, just double check, look at my code, make sure your numbers are the same, make sure the order is the same as well. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna change this move 10 steps. I already know 10 steps is gonna be a little too fast. I'm gonna put not 34, that's a little too fast. Let's put 4 steps in. So this is a good speed. Once you guys have built this really simple code here, let's test it out. It never hurts to test out our code. We can always check if there are issues, bugs that we need to fix. So go ahead, if you've built this starting code, hit the green flag and watch your mouse now follows your mouse. Haha, pun intended. So here we go. As you can see, it's not stuck on my mouse right now. It's just following the arrow by a bit of a delay. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to make the game a little trickier. You know, games are not fun if they're super, super easy. We want a little bit of a challenge. So as you guys can see here, make sure everyone's is functioning like mine. Again, I would recommend keeping your numbers the same right now for me, you guys. Maybe after at the end of the game, you can play around with the speeds. I will mention which numbers you guys can adjust to kind of make the game harder or easier for you guys. This move 4 steps is one of them. I'm gonna say 4 steps is good enough, so we're gonna keep it at that. Make sure you guys stop the code so the mouse isn't going all over the place. Also, let's note that when I start the game, the mouse should go back to that starting position. So let's look. It's exactly doing what I want. Every time I click the green flag, the mouse teleports back to that starting position because we have this block here. We can flip the mouse. Maybe if we have time at the end, I can show you guys how to do that. It's going to add a lot more code just because of how the sprite works. But maybe if we have time at the end, I will show you guys some couple things. If you guys are still interested, I'll show you some cool stuff you can add into your code at the end of the game. So good. So hopefully everyone is great so far. We're good now. So we just built the core code for the mice. Now we're going to move on to the cheese. We're going to kind of build the core code for each character, and then we're going to add the stage in, the maze, and then we're going to build onto that as well. So let's click on the cheese block, everyone. Actually, I'm going to keep this open just for now to make sure everyone has the same blocks as I do here. Again, make sure these 2 blocks that says point towards mouse pointer and move 4 steps is inside this orange forever block because we want it to be always following our mouse. So we want it to be forever. Quick water break. All right, so now we're going to move on to the cheese. And before I click on that, just to make sure everyone catches up, what we want to do with the cheese, it is a collectible item. So that means when the mouse eventually touches the cheese, we want it to disappear. That way it kind of shows that the mice either ate it, stuffed it in its pockets, kept it for later, and runs away from the cat. So we're going to create a collectible, kind of a simulation of a collectible in Scratch. Excuse me. So click on the cheese now. Again, remember, each character has their own coding page, so we need to select each character first. So let's click on the cheese. So we have the cheese here. We have a core code for it. Again, if anyone's code is not working, make sure you have the same code as me here. For the most part, you need to make sure you're coding the mouse as well. So I've selected the mice at the bottom left corner here. It's highlighted blue. It's up here. I've built the code. I have these 2 blocks inside my forever loop. That way it's going to be playing forever. That's the core code for it. Again, if you guys have fallen behind, don't worry. I'm going to come back to the code for each character and we're going to build on it. So again, if you fall behind, don't worry. We are going to go back to it. So let's code the cheese now. So as you can see, we have a little core code already created for us. We have our starting block. Again, we're going to use that for every character when green flag is clicked. And we also have a show block here. So that block is purple. It's found in the looks tab. And what this block does, again, I know someone had some issue with their cat disappearing. That's kind of what this block does. There is a show one and hide one. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the cheese disappear when the mouse collects it. So this is where we're going to use an if statement. So I need everyone to head over to control. If you're in control, you've seen our forever loop here. That is what we're familiar with, but we're going to use the one below it. It says if. It also has a blank hexagon in the middle, and then. What this block does, if you guys don't know, it kind of creates a rule for our character, and this rule will activate when this condition is met. So this little blank hexagon here is our condition. So kind of think, you know, rules in sports. A penalty only happens to you in a sport if you've done something. So if you kind of like this statement here, if you've done something, then this rule will activate. So what we're going to do with this rule is it's going to say if, and then in this blank spot is going to say touching the cheese, then we can tell the cheese to do something in here. We can add a block. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add this conditional statement here. Again, remember that Scratch is color-coded all over their blocks, as well as the shapes are very important in blocks. So if we head over to sensing, so a block we haven't used yet today. So this is the light blue block here. So here is sensing. And if we go in here, we can see a lot of different blocks. We're going to use the top two for today. And we can actually see that the top two blocks both have that hexagonal shape. It's a little bit longer than in here. That's okay. It has those pointed ends. So that kind of shows you where certain blocks can go into other blocks. So some are rounded, some are hexagonal. So also take note that the shape is very important when coding in Scratch. So what we're going to grab is we're going to grab the top sensing block here. It says touching mouse pointer. So we're going to drag that. And again, since it's the same shape, we can actually drop it into our conditional statement slot right here. If you guys notice, when I bring it nice and close to that spot, it kind of highlights white. So as you see, it's not there. As soon as I get close to it, it highlights white. If it's not working for you guys, make sure you're using the left tip. I don't think the right tip works all that well. See, it's not highlighting with the right tip. Use the left tip here, or whichever side I believe you're grabbing the mouse from. Nope, it's still the left tip. So make sure you bring that left tip. It's highlighted white, and then just let go. And boom, it inserts it in itself. Perfect. So now our statement says if our cheese, because we're coding the cheese, if it's touching the mouse pointer, then do what? We actually want it to say if touching the mice character. So if the cheese touches the mice character, then do what? We're going to have it hide, right? Because we have the show block. You have it at the beginning. So when we start the game, the cheese shows. And then when the mice collects the cheese, we want it to disappear because we kind of showed that we ate it, or we kind of like pocketed it in the mouse. So let's head over to looks. We're going to look for a block that looks very similar to this, except it says hide. So scroll down. It's pretty close to the bottom of looks. There it is. So we have the show one here, and right below it says hide. So we want to click and bring it into our if statement here. And once we've done that, that's pretty much all the code we need for the cheese. You can grab your if statement and throw it inside the forever loop. So as you can see, when I get close to it, it kind of has this gray outline. The forever loop stretches too. So when it does that, we know we can let go. And bada boom, it is in the forever loop. I'll zoom in nice and close so you guys can see. It can get a little tricky with the same color to see where I've placed it. But inside the forever loop, it says if our cheese touches the mice character here, then we need to hide the cheese. So go ahead and test out your code again. Hit the green flag. Let's control the mouse to collect the cheese and see what happens. Boom, it disappears. Perfect. So we've kind of simulated how to create a collectible in Scratch. If I hit the green flag, if I stop the code and play it again, the cheese should show back up because we have the show code at the beginning here. And there it is again. And hopefully when I touch it again, it disappears. Fantastic, everyone. So we've created the core code for the cheese. I'm going to give everyone a minute here. Make sure your code looks exactly like mine. Again, don't worry if you guys are falling behind. I will go back to the mouse code. We are going to build on it if you've missed anything. Again, for the most part, if you guys are following along well, all of your code looks the same as mine. The game will work the exact same. If there are some maybe technical issues, I'd recommend just hitting that link again. You might have to start over. Worst case, at the end of the workshop, I can share my link. Everyone can click on it and play my fully functioning game. So don't worry If you couldn't figure it out or it didn't work, you can play the game at the end. We'll get the link for you guys. All right, so we finished the cheese code. Let me just load up more comments here. Perfect. So we finished the cheese. Now we're going to do the core code for the cat, everyone. So let's head over to the cat. Again, make sure you select the cat because we're coding a new character. We can see when we click it, we have our 2 base codes. Forever loop, super important for coding games. And we have when green flag is clicked at the top. Again, all of our characters have when green flag at the top. The purpose of that is when we hit the green flag, every single code will start at the same time, kind of like how a video game is when you hit that start button. So let's code the cat now, everyone. So how we code the cat, what we're going to do, it's going to be an enemy. So it's going to be moving around the maze. And when the mouse or mice touches it, the game will end. So before we add any complicated code to our cat, because we don't have our maze backdrop just yet, we want to build the core code. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and simulate the cat just to move left to right, excuse me. When it hits the edge of the screen, it'll bounce back the other way, excuse me. All right, so we are coding the cat. Let's head over to motion, everyone, because we want to set the starting point for this cat. So kind of the similar thing we did with the mouse. We have this go to block, so it starts in the same spot every single time we start the game. So we're going to do the exact same thing for the cat. Again, if you haven't moved the cat, fantastic. You don't need to do anything. If you guys have moved the cat, all you have to do is change your numbers to mine here. So head over to motion. We're going to grab that same block, so the 5th one from the top, excuse me, that says go to x, -48, y, +136. So grab that. Again, we're going to place it at the top of the forever loop, not inside the forever loop. If we have it inside here, then it's going to be forever going to this spot, which we really don't want. Again, if your numbers are different, it's only because you moved the cat at some point. Don't worry. You can type in here. You can adjust the numbers if you want. So you can go ahead and type in the numbers I have if you're worried about that. All right, so we set the starting point for the cat. Now we want to simulate the cat moving left to right. And when it touches the edge of the screen, it's going to bounce back. So first things first is we got to move the cat. So easy enough. We're going to grab the top motion block that says move 10 steps. I'm going to change it down to 4 steps. So it's kind of the same speed around the mouse. Again, at the end of the game, you guys, this is one of those blocks that you guys can change to maybe adjust the difficulty of the game. You want the cat to be faster, you increase this number. You want it to be slower to make the game easier, you decrease this number. Also, you can put decimal numbers in Scratch as well. It recognizes decimal numbers. So if you want to do 4.5, fine by me. All right, so now we have the cat going to move if I hit the green flag. But what's not going to happen is it's not going to bounce back when it hits a edge. So again, we're going to create a rule for our cat with a conditional statement. So we do that by going to control, grabbing our if statement. So again, it's right below forever in the orange control tab. It says if blank, then what it's going to say when we fully coded it. If our cat touches the edge of the screen, then we're going to have it turn around the other direction. So again, we see this shape here. We know we probably need to use a sensing block. We're going to use the top one again that says touching mouse pointer. Again, use that left tip of the if or the touching block to insert it in there. Remember, we're going to bring the left tip there. It's highlighted white. Drop it in. Voila. Let's load up more comments. Sorry, everyone. All right, and we want to switch this mouse pointer to edge. So not mice, not cheese, not mouse pointer. We want it to say edge. So now what it says, if the cat, because we're coding the cat, is touching the edge, then we want it to turn around. So if we need to turn something, we're going to head over to motion. And we're going to grab one of these blocks, it says turn 15 degrees. It really doesn't matter which way you pick. So one's clockwise, one's counterclockwise. It doesn't matter because we're going to make the cat turn 180 degrees, which is backwards, right? So if we know our degrees, our circle, we know 90 degrees is a turn, 180 is going backwards, 360 is a full spin. Make sure we that will come into play a little bit later. All right, so we have our code here. It says turn 15 degrees. That's not exactly what we want. We want the cat to turn all the way around and go back the other way. So to do that, we actually need to type 180 degrees. You have it there. It says if touching the edge, then turn 180 degrees. So we're gonna actually insert this inside the forever loop and make sure it's below the move 4 steps. So I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see nice and close here. So our code from the top to bottom is when green flag is clicked, we have a starting point set for our cat. Below that is our forever loop. Everything is inside this forever loop, and from the top it says move 4 steps. Then our if statement is below that, and the if statement says if touching edge, then turn 180 degrees. And just to be safe, let's add another move block. It's not necessary right now, but when we add more code in for the cat, it will make a little bit more sense. So we're actually going to add another move block just to kind of simulate when it touches the edge, it's going to turn 180 degrees and then keep moving at the same speed. All right, so here is our code for the cat. You guys can hit the green flag to see what happens. And there we go. So we now have our cat moving left to right, everyone. Again, if you guys are having issues with your code, it should be, for the most part, you have the order of the code incorrectly, or you have grabbed a block that looks very similar, but it's not the quite right one. Again, make sure you guys always hit that green flag to test out your code at the top here. If everything is attached to this green flag, it will play. So you have to make sure all of your code is attached. And you hit the green flag, our code will play. All right, so if everyone's followed along so far, we have our 3 core components. So the mice is controllable. We can move it where we please. When we collect the cheese, it disappears. And we have a cat that now kind of simulates an enemy's movement. It's moving around the screen. We're going to add more code onto the mice and the cat after we've put the maze in. So here is where we add the maze. And we're going to get a little more complicated. We're going to add some new coding blocks. So I want to make sure everyone's doing all right so far. Here, I'll show the mice code right now if everyone needs to see it. Here's my core mouse code right now. So it's not too many blocks. This is just how we make it move. Here is our cheese code. This one's even more simple. Show it at the beginning of the game. In the forever loop, if statement, if touching the mice, then hide it. And lastly, our cat code. We have a starting point. Inside our forever loop, we're having the cat move. We're going to have it bounce, turn around when it touches the edge, and move at the same speed. All right, so here we go. Now this is where we add the maze into it. Once we add the maze into it, we can start adding more code. So to add the maze in, everyone, I need everyone to look on the right side of their screen on Scratch. So on the right side here, it says this big white box that says stage. And below it has our backdrop, which is just a blank, boring white screen. And it says the word backdrops and it actually has a number 2 underneath. That is because there is another backdrop hiding. It is the maze that everyone needs. So again, if you guys have clicked the link, you'll have the backdrop there. So what I need everyone to do is click on the word stage up here. Click on it. Your code will disappear. Don't panic. Don't panic. It's still there. Just don't worry. Click on stage so that it is blue. You know it will work because the code will disappear. Stage will look blue. And now what I need everyone to do is we're going to go up to these tabs that I talked about earlier. So we've been sitting on the code tab the whole time. We're going to click on the backdrops tab. So if you've clicked stage, it should say backdrops up here. If you are still selected on a different character or something like that, it's going to say costumes. All right, so you click on that stage. On the right side of the screen, it goes blue. Code disappears. This now says backdrops. So go ahead and click on that tab at the top there. And we can view our backdrops. So here we have two of them. The first one is the blank screen. And number 2 is the maze. So if you guys click on the maze there, it should show up as your second backdrop there. Oops. So again, you should have 2 backdrops. If you've clicked the link, it should have 2 backdrops for you guys. You just need to make sure you've clicked on stage on the right side of the screen here. So my mouse over here on the right side where it says stage should have a number 2 unless you've accidentally somehow deleted the stage. Again, you probably have to reload that link again to get it back. Again, no panic. I can share the link here at the end of the game for you guys. But yes, click on stage. You need to do that first. You'll know it's working. The code disappears. This word turns to backdrop. You click on backdrops, and there should be a second maze there. So what I need everyone to do, it should be default selected on number 1 backdrop. I need everyone to click on the second backdrop. And when you do that, you know it's working because on our play screen, the maze shows up. So make sure everyone has done that. Clicked on maze. Your screen looks like mine. Once you've done that, you can go back to your character's code. So just click either the mouse or the cheese, and then you have to click the code tab at the end. Again, I'll show it one more time for everyone just to make sure because it's kind of hidden. It's not the easiest way to find it. So if you need this maze backdrop to show, if you still have the blank white one, go to the bottom right hand of the corner here. We can see it says stage backdrop should have a number 2. Click on the word stage, it goes blue. Our code disappears. At the top left corner, the new tab that says backdrops, click on that, and you'll have your 2 backdrops you can select between. You guys want to make sure click on the one that says maze, should be the number 2 one. You click on that, voila, our maze shows up. To get back, you just click on one of your characters. It'll show the costumes, and you just guys need to click on the code tab. So go back to the code tab at the top, not costumes or backdrops. Make sure it says code, and just click on one of your characters there. All right. Hopefully everyone is able to get their maze up and running. Oh, found it on the left instead of the right. Yes, my apologies if maybe you guys are using an iPad or some other type of device. I'm using the web browser one. If you guys have the downloaded one, it might be in a little different spots. My apologies. But for the most part, wherever you find this stage backdrop, click on that and click on backdrops up there. So here we go. We have a maze, everyone. We play our code right now. We can already see there are some issues. My mouse does not recognize what's a wall and what's not a wall. The cat doesn't recognize what's a wall. The game's a little too easy right now. So what we need to do is we need to simulate a wall. And we're going to do that by using colors. So if you guys look on our backdrop, we only have 2 colors. We have a white background and then this dark navy blue maze. So we're going to have our characters, specifically the cat and the mouse, recognize what a wall is by using colors. So make sure everyone's clicked on their mouse code. That's where we're coding first. Might want to drag your mouse down. So start the code and then stop it again. Bring your mouse down to the bottom. Just make sure it's not on one of the lines when we code it. Excuse me. So we are going to now create another rule for our character. Don't worry, whatever color your maze is, don't worry, as long as it's one unifying color, you're good. Don't worry if it's some different color than mine. I think it's a really, really dark blue. It might look black. All right, so let's go back to our mice. So we've clicked on our mice. We have the same code we've built. Now we're gonna add on to it. We need to tell the mouse that when it hits this color to stop, because it is a wall. So we're kind of creating a new rule for our character, a condition that needs to be met. So we're using an if statement again. So everyone head over to control, the block that's below the forever loop, the if statement here. So this is what we're gonna use now is the if statement again. So I'm gonna keep it away from my other code just so we don't confuse anyone for now. So we have our if statement. Again, we recognize this shape. Probably need a sensing block. That's exactly what we want. Now remember earlier I said we're gonna be using the top two touching blocks here. We're gonna use now this one that says touching color. So we wanna grab touching color, insert that in our if statement. All right, so now it says if touching this, whatever color, you guys might have different colors than mine right now, then do what? So what we need to do is we need to set this color to our maze color. Again, we need the mouse to recognize what a wall is, and we're gonna do that with colors. So this is very important. If you guys haven't been paying attention until now, I'm telling you right now, you need to pay attention because this can mess up the code entirely. The mouse won't recognize what a wall is. So what I need everyone to do, we're gonna click on this color, whatever your color block is. Mine's kind of a turquoise color, whatever it is, click on it. You'll have this couple color tabs that appear up here. You can adjust it to get the exact color you want, but it would be really hard to get this exact color by using these sliders. So there is a really cool tool to get exact color that you want. So make sure everyone's paying attention here because this is very important. Once you've clicked on this color tab here, you should see all three of these sliders here. And what you need to do is you need to click on this bottom button here. So it's kind of this small little symbol here. And it is technically a color dropper, kind of like an eyedropper. So when you click on this, you guys, you can see a couple things happen. My screen all went dark except for the play screen. And when I bring my mouse over into the play screen, we can see this big circle shows up here. It's kind of a magnifying glass. So I can magnify my game right now. And what this is doing, it's asking me to select a color from my play screen here. So I don't have to adjust the sliders to get this exact color I want. I can just use this magnifying glass, make sure your little square, which is the middle, you want to bring it over to any part of the maze. It doesn't matter, it's because they're all the same color. You can bring it to any point. You guys need to bring it onto the maze so that the circle now goes blue. So as you can see, the circle is blue all around, or navy blue, whatever this dark color is. When I move off of it, it turns white. So what everyone needs to do is make sure your circle is blue. You're looking at the maze, and I need everyone to left click. Just the default click. Once you do that, it finds the exact color you need for this backdrop. So you don't have to worry about all the sliders or anything. It gets the exact color that you want. Again, if you guys can't find that using iPads, a little tricky to use your finger, I have the numbers right here. So if you guys are having a tough time, you can adjust the sliders so that the numbers are exactly like mine. So the first slider is, the color is 61. The second one, saturation is 100, so all the way to the right, and the brightness is at 60. So if you guys are having trouble using that drop for whatever reason, just try your best to get the sliders to these numbers. That way it should be the exact color. So I'm gonna give everyone just a second here to make sure they have gotten that color in because it's very important. First number is 61, second one is 100, The last one is 60. Thank you guys for posting in the chat. That's very nice of you. But again, the best way to do it is to use this little dropper tool to select your maze. All right, so we have selected our color. We have put the condition in. So now if the mice touches this color, what is going to happen? So now we've got to add code to tell the mouse, hey, this is a wall to stop moving. So we're going to do that by going to motion. So we're going to head over to motion, and what code we're going to add in here is we're going to tell the mouse to, when it touches this color, to turn the other direction. So if it turns the other way, that way it won't be able to keep moving through that wall. We're going to tell it to immediately, when it touches that color, to turn away and move 4 steps again, like so. So kind of similar to how we coded the cat. I'll go back to the cat really quickly, don't panic. So kind of what we have here is this turn 180 degrees when it hits the edge and moves 4 steps. We're actually going to do this exact code again, except it's going to say when touching that color. So let's go and do that. So I'm going to go grab the turn block from the motion tab. We're going to click, drag that in. Inside my if statement, we're going to change it to 180 degrees because we know 180 degrees is going to turn and go backwards. So that's the backwards direction. And then we need to tell it to move that way. So it kind of doesn't allow us to move into the wall. It's going to be kind of pushing forces, kind of like magnets, you know, on opposite ends. When we get to that wall, it's going to be forcing us to move 4 steps in the other direction because we're turning 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and grab another move block. I'm going to place it inside our if statement. It's going to be below turn 180 degrees because we want to turn the other way first. And we're going to change the number to 4 because we're already moving 4 steps with our character. So we need to tell it to move or subtract 4 because we're turning the other way. So technically, we're moving 0 steps when we're touching this color. So we have that core code now built. What you guys need to do, again, order is very important. So watch where I place this, you guys. This is going to go inside a forever loop because we want it to always be active, but we want it below our first 2 blocks. So as you can see, I'm dragging it up from the bottom, and this is exactly where I want it. You guys can see the gray area where it's going to insert. So the further you move it up, it'll insert it in different spots. Make sure it is at the bottom here. So here we go. This is now our core code for the mouse. Go ahead, everyone, and test out your game. And look at that. Our mouse will not go through the walls. Again, to explain it in words by looking at our code, right now we have our mouse following our mouse pointer with a bit of a delay, moving at the speed of 4 steps. If the mouse touches this blue color, which is our walls, then it's going to turn in the other direction and move 4 steps. So if we're moving up 4 steps and we hit a wall, we're going to turn the other way. So we're going to look backwards and move 4 steps, which is technically making it moving 0 steps every time we touch this blue wall, which is simulating a blockage or a wall for us. So fantastic job for everyone who's gotten this far. We now can have kind of a challenge going. The mouse can creep through, collect the cheese. Fantastic, but we are not done yet, everyone. We still need to code the cat. We can see that the cat now is going through the walls. So we're gonna have to do something similar with the mouse, as well as when the mouse touches the cat, nothing happens. There's no game over or anything like that. So we still need to add a couple more things to the code. So first things first, let's go and code the cat so that it can recognize walls just like the mouse. So let's go ahead and click on the cat, everyone. I'm gonna wait just a second here to make sure everyone's caught up, everyone has the right code here, but go ahead and click on the cat, and we're gonna do something very similar. Actually quite identical to the mouse that we're doing right now. So go ahead, click on your cat, everyone. We're not going to add any new blocks, or we're not going to add a new if statement. We're actually going to edit this if statement. So instead of saying touching edge, we're going to replace this with the color one, so the same one that the mouse used. My cat is going on a diagonal. Oh my. So if your cat is going in the wrong direction, it's probably because it's looking in the wrong direction. So click on your cat here. So I've showed my cat code here. And then look at this setting right here just above your cat character. It says direction. Make sure that is at 90. And you have this number that says turn 180 degrees. Make sure that's 180. And if direction's at 90, you should be good. That's probably why it's going on a diagonal. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this touching edge block, and we're going to replace it with the touching color block from sensing, everyone. So to delete stuff, I haven't really showed you guys how to do that yet. All you have to do is click and drag the block out. So I grab the touching block and you just throw it back to where you got it. And it's gone. There we go. So now we're going to replace this with our touching color block again. And you guys are going to do the whole same system we've done before. So grab touching color. Make sure that left tip is inside the condition statement or that little hexagon spot. Drop it in and do the whole same thing over again. So we click on the color, everyone. We're going to click on the eyedropper icon down at the bottom here. Everything goes gray except our play screen. I have a magnifying glass. I'm going to select the maze so that the circle is blue. Click on that. It changes my color to the exact one. Again, its color slider 1 is 61. The saturation is at 100 and the brightness is at 60. So here we go. That's the exact code we need. So let's play for the cat here. If your cat did what mine just did there, let's see it, we'll try it again. So I already have an issue, and probably if you guys have the same numbers as I do, our cat is stuck when we hit the green flag. The reason that is because its ears are kind of stuck in the wall, so it's telling it not to move. So what I need everyone to do to fix their cat is hit the stop button, stop your code, and just make sure you grab your cat and place it so that it's inside all of the blue walls, everyone. Okay, so you've moved the cat. Make sure it's not touching a single blue wall. All right, otherwise, again, if you guys have the same numbers as mine, you probably have the same issue as me. So what we need to do now is to reset its starting point, because right now my starting point, the cat is a little too high up and it's stuck in the wall. So that's occurring because we've told it to stop moving or bounce when it's in the wall. So what I need everyone to do is to stop their code, drag their cat so it's somewhere. You can place it wherever you want. Just make sure it's not touching any wall right now. Okay, so once it's done that, you've placed it where it's not touching any walls. Now we just need to change these coordinates. So again, there's two different ways you can do it. If you've grabbed your cat and placed it there first, we can just go ahead and grab a new starting block that says go to X, Y. So I'm going to just grab the new block. I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to grab the new go to and attach the rest of my code. If you don't want to do that, you can just change your numbers to mine if you guys want. So again, if you guys had the same numbers as mine earlier, your cat will be stuck and will not move because it is stuck in the wall. So make sure you guys, the starting point for your cat, just plug in the same numbers I have here. So X is equal to -18, Y is equal to +124. Now, if I hit the green flag, all right, we've done another simulation of a cat bouncing off the walls. But before we can code the game over when the cat touches us, Right now, this game's not that difficult. The cat is actually just bouncing up at the top here. If I really cared about it, I could just move underneath and never touch the cat once. So now what we need to do is we need to, every time the cat touches a wall, we need to tell it to pick a random direction. So we're going to tell the cat to, when it hits a wall, to either randomly go back the same way, so turn 180 degrees. We could tell it to turn down, which I believe is 90 degrees for this cat, or to go up, which is a 270 degrees. So we're going to need to code that for the cat. We needed to pick randomly between those three angles. So this can get a little confusing. I'm going to add some math into it. So don't worry, maybe this math is a little bit above you guys. Don't worry, just put the same numbers as you. For maybe the older one that can understand the degrees and multiplication, I'll explain it as well. So what we need to do here now is we're going to grab another turn block. Okay, so we're going to grab another turn block. I'm going to keep it separate right now because we're going to build on top of it. Make sure this turn block is the exact same as the one you have here. So I've both chosen turn clockwise arrow. I don't have one that's counterclockwise and one that's clockwise. I have both of them the same, turning the same direction. Okay? So we're going to grab turn to the right 15 degrees. Now we're going to use some new blocks here, everyone. We're going to head over to operators. So this is kind of where we add a lot of math into code. And for people that don't think math is involved in coding, you might be very wrong because there is a lot of math involved in coding. Today, we're just going to use this pick random block and a multiplication block. So you're going to grab both of those. So grab pick random 1 to 10. And we're going to grab this multiplication block. So at the top here, it says a blank plus blank, or blank minus blank, blank times blank. So this little star right here, the third one is multiplication. And lastly, that one's division. So grab the multiplication block, everyone. So here we are. So we have these three blocks. We're going to add all of them into this turn 15 degrees. Again, remember, everything has a specific shape in Scratch. And if the shape is the same, you can probably insert it into a block. So as you can see here, this 15 degrees is going to be replaced by these two green ones. They are the same shape. They are rounded just like this. So we can actually replace it there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pick between random number 1 to random number 3. And I'll just explain that in just a second. Put number 1 to 3. So when we're playing this game, this Scratch will pick a random number between 1 to 3 for us while playing this game. And once you've added those numbers in, you're actually going to grab this pick random block and you're going to insert it in the multiplication. So we're going to put it on this left circle here. Again, all of these spots are rounded so they can go inside one another. So kind of just like what we did with the touching block in this spot here, we're going to do the same thing, left side of it. Make sure it's highlighted white. I know it's really hard to see because it is kind of a white backdrop. Zoom out so I can see it as well. So here we go. I've actually inserted inside the block. I know it's kind of hard to see, but you can see this mini circle inside of our big circle. So now what it says pick random number between 1 to 3 and then multiply it by a certain number. We're going to put 90 in here. Excuse me. So the reason we're doing this is to give us those 3 angles. So remember I said what we want the cat to do is when it hits a wall, instead of going back the same way, we want it to randomly decide to either go back the same way, so that would be 180 degrees, it needs to turn 180 degrees, or it could go down, which would be 90 degrees, or it could go up, which is 270 degrees. So with these combination of numbers, if Scratch picks the random number 1, it's going to multiply it by 90. So that will give us to turn 90 degrees. While we're playing the game, if the Scratch picks the number 2, randomly picks number 2, it's going to multiply it by 90, and we're going to get 180 degrees. And then if it randomly picks 3, it's always going to multiply it by 90. That's going to give us 270 degrees. So that is how we can give a random kind of generator for our characters in Scratch. Once we've built this code, we're going to insert it in the turn block here. So kind of like what we did before, I'm going to zoom out so you can see everything here. So there we go. Now it says turn clockwise. It's going to turn with this multiplication in mind. So when we start the code, when this cat hits a wall, it's going to pick between 1, 2, or 3. It's going to multiply that by 90, and the cat's going to turn in that direction for degrees. So you've built that code, everyone. I know that was a little confusing. Don't worry, that's the hardest part. And we're going to actually insert that below the move 4 steps inside the if statement, everyone. So I'll zoom in so you guys can see it. So here's our code for the cat. Got all of the core stuff we have, and then inside the if statement, it says touching the blue color. It's going to turn 180 degrees. It's going to move that 4 steps back, same code as the mouse. But before it can play the rest of the code over again, it's going to pick a random direction, either 180 degrees, so back the same way, 90 down, or 270 degrees, and go up. If you guys have built that code, go ahead and hit the green flag, test it out, and we can actually now see that the cat is randomly moving. It's picking between those three numbers, multiplying it by 90, so it gives us to turn either 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or 270 degrees. So fantastic job for everyone who could get that. I know it's a little tricky with the layering, plus the math might not make sense. I understand that. Thank you for everyone who's doing such a great job and sticking around. But we're almost done. I know we're running over an hour here, but we just have one thing left to code. We need to code what happens when the cat catches us. So go ahead, stop your code. We're going to go back to the mouse, and we're going to finish our game, everyone. It is not going in. So I believe you're talking about this green block. Again, same thing with the touching. Make sure you use the left tip. That's where it recognizes where to go. Make sure you don't grab the pick random. Grab right where the multiplication sign is. That grabs all of it. So I'm grabbing right where the multiplication sign is, and I'm bringing the left half of this circle over here. So I place it in there. If that's still not working, you might have the wrong block. So make sure you're using that multiplication block. It's rounded. It's not one of these. It's not pointed. Remember, shapes are important in Scratch. All right, so let's go back to the mouse code, everyone. And we are going to create another rule, a conditional statement for our mouse. So we need a if statement again. So go ahead and grab your if statement, everyone. Grabbing a new one, and what this if statement is going to say is, if the mouse touches the cat, then game over, stop the game. So this is nothing new, we've done this already, so head back to sensing. Want the top block that says touching mouse pointer, insert that in the if statement, click on mouse pointer, and select cat. Because we are coding the mouse. If the mouse touches the cat, then stop the code or stop the game. And we need a special block to do that, which will kind of simulate us hitting the stop button. We can find that in control, so make sure everyone, my cat keeps clutching when it touches walls. Make sure when you, so if your cat is doing a bit of a glitch, the reason that is because you don't have this move 4 steps in here, Rachel. So Inside our cat's code here, it says when touching blue color, turn 180 degrees. Then it needs to move 4 steps. So it's the same block that we have at the top of the forever loop. For some reason, without this move 4 steps, the cat kind of freaks out and goes through walls. So make sure you have this extra move 4 steps. I know we already have it here, but this kind of breaks it up before it can turn up here. It doesn't, if you have this block, it won't glitch through the walls for you guys. All right, back to the mouse. If touching the cat, then let's stop the game. To stop the game, everyone head to control and scroll right to the bottom of control. At the bottom, 4th from the bottom, it says stop all. That's exactly what we want. It's also important to note that this block doesn't kind of have a protrusion like the other blocks do. That is because it's an end block, kind of like the opposite of our when green flag is clicked, nothing can attach to the top of it because it's a starting block. Now, with the stop block, it doesn't have anything at the bottom, so nothing can attach to it because it's going to stop our code. Go ahead, grab that block, insert it in the if statement touching the cat, and we're going to insert that into the rest of our code. Again, order is important, so where we want to place this is still inside the forever loop, but we need to make sure it's not inside this if statement. It needs to be separate. So slowly drag it up and drop it in there. So we have 2 back-to-back if statements. They are not inside one another. They are one after another. So here we go. I see some issues. Green multiplication block. It should be working. It can be a little finicky when dragging and dropping the blocks. Again, it recognizes on the left side. So I just took out all of the blocks just now. We have pick random between 1, 3. You have a blank multiplied by 90. I'm going to click around pick random, and I'm going to bring the word pick to that circle. So the word pick should be where that circle is. You drop it in. They now attach to one another. And then I do the exact same thing. I'm going to grab the block, but make sure you grab it by the multiplication because that way you grab all of it. You don't want to grab the block back out. Grab it. And again, with the word pick, make sure it's over that turn 15 degrees slot. As you can see, it highlights white and inserts in. All right. And then going back to the mouse, the stop all code for the mouse. If touching the cat, then stop all. That stop all block is found in control near the bottom, everyone. And that will simulate a game over for us. So when the mouse is caught, it stops the game or essentially hits the stop button. You're welcome. All right, there it is, everyone. You have created your base game cat and mouse. So when I hit the green flag, my cat starts up there. You can control the mouse. If I can get inside there, hopefully I won't get caught. Maybe the cat might move, hopefully. There we go. I go in, grab the cheese. Yay. Oh no, oh no. Oh no, and I lost. Game over. I couldn't get out in time. Also, if you guys want a bigger play screen, look in the top right-hand corner where these 4 arrows are. So click on that. Boom, we got a nice big gaming screen here. So if you guys want a little bit bigger of a screen, there you are. Perfect. I know we are running kind of a little over the time, so we probably don't have much time to show too much else, but I'll mention one thing for anyone that thinks the game's a little too easy, what you can do to make it harder. Yeah, exactly. Someone added 3 cheeses. I was going to say you could add another cat. So if you guys want to have multiple cats going at the same time and not just the one, you can easily do it by hovering over your cat code. So you click on cat down here, everyone. So our character, our sprite here where my mouse is, and you right click on it And it says duplicate, export, delete. Hit duplicate. Now we have 2 cats. Hit the green flag. And we have 2 cats going. But when you do this, you guys, there will be an issue that arises if you have 2 cats. The issue is that the game will not end when it touches the second cat. If you guys see that one cat is named cat, the other one is cat 2. So what you guys would have to do is you could create another block that looks exactly like this and just have it saying cat 2 as well. So you have both of them there. Or you can use an operator block that says or. So right here, you could use this and place both of these touching cat blocks. Make sure everyone can see it. Have one there. And then grab another of these same block. Make sure it says touching the cat 2. And there we go. I'll zoom out a bit. Everyone can see the full code. So that, if you wanted to duplicate, make more cats, you just have to add this to your mouse code so that the game does end when it touches the other cat. And then if you had a third one, you got to do the same thing again as well. Add another or block, layer them on top of each other. Yeah, you can make more cheeses if you guys want. So all you need to do for that, you can do the exact same thing with the cat. Click on your cheese, right click on it, hit duplicate. Now we have 2 cheeses. You can move this to another corner if you want. Boom. Now we have 2 cheeses to collect. Oh, the cats are really fast, so maybe I'm like, oh, this game's maybe a little too hard. So let's slow the cats down. We can do that. It's our game. It's our code. We just have to adjust a few numbers. So maybe you want to slow them down. All you guys have to do is adjust both of the blocks that say move 4 steps. So maybe we're going to change them both to 3. And then cat number 2, maybe we'll make this cat even slower. So it would be 2.5 steps. 2.5. Make sure both of the numbers are the same, everyone. Okay. I hit play. Now the cats move a little bit slower. It might be a little easier. I can try and collect both cheeses. 1 there. Again, you can make your mouse a little bit faster if you guys want. You can just do that by adjusting those 2 move 4 steps. Oh no, I'm getting stuck. And there you have it, everyone. Hopefully everyone was able to fully create their game. I hope everyone enjoyed it. That was it for today. So I know, let me see if I can send my link for my game to maybe Nina, or Renata can post it in the chat for everyone. If you click on that link, you can go right to my game and you can play my game right now. So it'll have 2 cheeses for you, have 2 cats for you. Everything should be working with the maze. So if anyone had some issues, I'd appreciate if Nina or Renata could just post that in the chat right now. Go ahead and click on that and you guys will be able to play it. All right. No problem, everyone. I know the screen looks a little scary. I'm trying to look at the chat while having the scratch open. Awesome. Enjoyed the game. Oh, glad everyone enjoyed it. Yes, a lot of there we go. There we go. There is the link. It is posted. Science North posted it. It says it's my completed version. It'll bring you to my page, my game. It'll be fully functioning. Just hit the green flag to reset the game, and you guys will have my game there for you. Again, in the top right corner here, if you guys have signed in, the game automatically saves for you, so you don't have to worry about anything. If you don't have an account, you can head right up to the top right-hand corner. Obviously, ask your parent, guardian, whomever first before actually signing in, because you need a username and password. Make an account. It is free, and you can save your work. I can come back to all of my other workshops, maybe work on them, build on them. You can also share between friends. So if you make a game for your friend, you can send it to them as well, and you guys can play it together. All right. Well, that's it for me. If Nina could switch off, oh, maybe I'll just stop sharing my screen. That works. There we go. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me in your virtual house, wherever you guys are today, and hope you guys learned a little bit about coding. And we do have more workshops throughout the rest of the week. We have another one in the afternoon at 2 o'clock, and we have a couple more throughout the week, Thursday and Friday. So thank you, everyone, for joining, and enjoy the rest of your night.